your house.
It's our house.
But don't let nobody take advantage of you like that.
Talk.
You paid for that
You
house.
don't let me talk.
He ain't giving you a dime. He's sleeping, eating on you.
Todd, you paid the monthly bills in that house.
You buying the food.
I think the issue is that you only see a man as a payer bill person.
I see a man as a provider.
But guess what? He is providing. Now I get together on my prenup.
Honey, let me tell you, prenups to be sliced, diced, so what? Haven't you heard in the manner to which I have become
accustomed to?
Should women have to give up their ambitious endeavors once they have children? That is the question for today's video. And for today's video, I'm going to be using Kandi and Todd's current ongoing divorce proceedings as example in their past relationship. Using Kandi and Todd from the Real Housewives of Atlanta as examples. And I'm going to use them because, of course, they're public figures. If you don't know who they are, they're part of the reality TV show. They were. They've since left the show. They had their own spin-off special about their marriage, them getting married and all of that good stuff. So they're currently going through a divorce and it's gotten ugly, even though Kandi is trying to manage it, make us think otherwise, but the paperwork does not lie. She's saying it's the lawyers going back and forth, but lawyers are not going to do anything that the clients would not consent to. Even if the lawyers try to get into your ears, maybe they're trying to get more money, yada, yada, yada. They will still need your consent. And if you don't want to go through with something, they cannot force you. Even if they present an idea to you, it's up to you as a client to accept or reject it. They're going through a nasty divorce, and one of the ongoing themes, and I think where they're having a lot of difficulty, is deciding about their children's welfare. They have 2 children together, 4 children in total that we know of. Kandi, again, she's from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. She's been very successful from prior. She was in a girl group, Escape. They still tour. She was a millionaire before she met him, Todd that is. She met him on the show. He was one of the workers, as Mama Joyce says. So from the beginning, there was a very power imbalance because Kandi was talent on the show. He worked for the show. She obviously was a lot richer than he is. And it just seemed like we didn't know much about him or how much money he made, but we knew it wasn't that much because we didn't know much about his resume and still don't. We only know about what they've done together.
I definitely think we should take a look at Kandi Burruss prior to Todd. We have stores all across the United States, a successful bedroom candy line, and a songwriting career that spans across 60 million records sold, plus a Grammy. And Todd Tucker's resume reads...
What?
I'll wait on it.
So they got together, and it seemed like the mom, and we all know Mama Joyce was not having it because that's her daughter. She didn't want Kandi to marry down, and she sees it.
Even though I do feel you're opportunist.
What do you think I'm getting out of it?
What you getting out of it?
This doesn't impress me. This
This might
house,
not
this house,
I
none
mean,
of this
but the
impresses
woman
me.
itself,
Oh,
look.
I love her to death.
Well, you gonna have to prove that to me now. I got my, and I got people that they get back to me.
Everybody's looking
I
at me.
know they looking at you.
As they should.
You are from New York, so you
I
know
am.
y'all know y'all slick.
Slick.
But I'm gonna tell you, I take the slick out of slick.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, I believe it.
I do.
You tell me what I need to do to fix it, and I'm gonna do my best.
Just don't let me catch you. Now, let me tell you, ain't no river high enough. Ain't no ocean deep enough. Ain't no desert hot enough to keep me off your ass, baby.
He wasn't on par as to someone that she would prefer for Kandi, but it seemed like Kandi had some insecurities in that she had said, you know, she had previously dated men who were rich, who had a lot of money, and according to her, they treat you like shit. So that was her mindset going into that relationship. Maybe she was thinking, because I'm the breadwinner, because I'm making the more money, and you know, he's working for the show, so he can essentially become my house husband, and he wouldn't have to go anywhere as long as I took care of him. I'm not saying this is true, but that's what I got from that.
Okay, you think I'm just gonna run out in the street and say, oh, he's a multi-million-dollar dude that has everything that I'm looking for and I connect with spiritually, and he makes
It's
me
possible,
happy. That
Kandi.
does not happen because I dated guys who have millions and they treat you like crap half the time. They have multiple women. They not trying to just be sticking around with one chick because half the time they don't have to because there's a whole bunch of women around here that's just glad to be with a guy who got a check, so they don't care where else he's spending his time.
I'm not saying it could be a policeman. It could be a fireman.
Hey, look, he makes more than a policeman or a fireman.
My mother was cool with Todd in the beginning. But I guess as time went on and she saw that we were serious, oh my goodness, all of a sudden she started trying to count his money. Oh, I don't know. It just got bad.
Why do you feel like you always have to dang on protect me every second?
You my baby. You got a baby. You know what I told me? She do not really like Todd. I just want him to be able to provide for you. You know, I feel like Todd should have went out and bought a real ring.
No, are you trying to diss my ring?
I'm not dissing.
That is not cool. Because this is the ring that I wanted. He got me what I wanted.
I know.
He did not just go out and pick a random ring. This is the one that I asked him for. When I saw this ring in the case, I did not even know how much it cost. I loved it.
I know
He
you don't
got me
like
what I
jewelry.
wanted.
I know you don't like jewelry.
It's
So
the
it
thing,
doesn't
I'm
matter.
not like you.
I know
I don't
you're not
care
like
about the
you.
biggest
You don't
diamond. I
like-
don't care about the biggest this, the biggest that. That's not what I like. You gotta let me have what I like.
I know.
So why would you diss something that I love? I don't know why you be trying to play him like he's just some deadbeat.
That's because you are not married to him yet. You do not know the man.
And so there was a lot of debacle on them getting married, him not wanting to sign a prenup, not actually having signed a prenup until like the day of the wedding, like a few hours before the actual wedding. And so, you know, it seems like he is contesting the divorce, even though Kandi says he's not. He's asking for things. He was supposed to leave the house. She's filing motions saying he won't leave, even though that's what the prenup says. And it seems like there's a whole debacle. But the main issue that they're having is figuring out the children, right? Again, Kandi is obviously the woman, but he is requesting full custody. And as we know, usually the women, and that's just the reality of it. Women usually take on the child care, the child rearing, the child bearing, all of those responsibilities, typically, not always, but most of the time fall on the woman. The fact that he's requesting full custody says, you know, a lot of people are saying it's because he's trying to get, you know, the child support payments because he was home all this time. And apparently he's requesting alimony. And it's just a nasty divorce despite what Kandi wants us to believe. But the main issue, again, is the children. So my question is, I do see a lot of discourse on Kandi because even on the show, he always made it seem like she was an overworker. She was never home. She was never available to do the physical care. So he was basically at home while she traveled for either, you know, for her career. She was either performing, she's involved in different shows. You know, she's currently on a play. Romeo and Juliet in New York, and they live in Atlanta, and the kids are supposed to be living in Atlanta. So it seemed like there's a lot of discourse on whether or not he should get the children. Now I'm going to be very upfront and very honest in saying that I'm going to be partially biased in this video because I know I have my own feelings about marrying down. I personally would never do it, especially if we're not equally yoked. Even if, not to say that I would never marry somebody with less money than me, but if I'm a millionaire, you need to at least be a millionaire as well. Now, if it depends, you know, the gap can't be that wide for me. And of course, there are other requirements, but that's one of them for me financially. And it seems that, you know, Kandi's always been called the sugar mama, that he was, in his own words, he said that, you know, she did the chasing. She was chasing him for a long time. And then she realized, okay, he wasn't chasing her back, but what did you expect, right? You're chasing a man, which I would never also do, never recommend, because if a man wants you, he wants you. Men know what they want, they will go for it. And according to him, he had just moved to Atlanta. She didn't really give him a chance to like play the scene, you know. Obviously that means get with other women and stuff like that. So I'm sure there's some regret there for him, but within their relationship, they also seem to have had some kind of very relaxed, I don't know if I want to say relaxed, but you know, not you're just me and you type of relationship, not just monogamous. They would involve other people in their personal escapades. So I'm sure he got to explore, but it's seeming like he wanted to do things on his own. That's what I'm guessing, because of the way she seemed very adamant. Like this is somebody that most people never thought would be at this point. Everybody thought they were in it for the long haul, despite all of the negative backlash a lot of people were against, you know, her marrying him, especially her mother. The audience was like, why would you do this? Why him? But a lot of people were in support of them because of the fact that he seemed to be very supportive. He seemed like he played the role very well. Excuse me. Very soft-spoken. He's never angry towards her. He's helps around the house. He helps care for the children.
I know with you, I felt like initially in the beginning, I felt like I used to initiate it more.
Me too. I did too.
But that's how players are. Like, players like to be, like, you know,
we want.
There you go with that Leo bull.
I'm just giving you the truth.
Players, that's our players.
Guys like
what players like? What
guys like their ego. We want to know you want us, just like y'all know.
First of all, his ego is out of control. Okay, to be clear.
It's really not, babe. This ego is it's been put in a box. I've kind of smashed it away. I don't go crazy.
Yeah, whatever.
But like that, we need our ego fed.
Okay, well, to be clear, I don't agree with that. I think you need your ego fed because I wasn't necessarily used to that. Now, I had 1 or 2 relationships where that where it was like maybe I initiated more, but I definitely was used to the other way around.
I like that myself.
What?
I like when a man initiated, you know.
Right.
Personally.
Okay, so
But
let's
you've
get into
experienced the
initiating.
same thing where you feel like you was initiated more.
Yeah.
Right. So to me, I feel like after a good year of that, I was like, okay, well, shit, if he want this to pop out, then he gonna need to get it going.
So you did it though. You did it in the beginning.
In the beginning, and then I backed out.
But then why did you back out? Like if it was working,
Because
if
it
it was
was working for
working.
you. I need you to be like,
Wait, you were still getting what you needed, right?
yeah, but like I need you to play into my
Oh, you need me to come
and play
jump
into
on your
what I-
bones. Okay, okay.
Yeah, like
I'm not
you
even.
want to be
cater to as well.
But I'm saying you can't have the bonnet on expecting me to come jump on you. Like
Todd, we're not doing this.
I'm not wearing a do-rag. I'm chilling. The waves is banging. The haircut is fly. I'm smelling good.
Baby, you want this ass or not, okay? Do you want it or not?
You need to warm this car up before you start driving. Don't think that you just finna just go cranking this bitch up. Rah, rah. Like it ain't like that.
Right, but
you need to warm this thing up.
think
so
about it.
It don't always come already ready to go. Okay?
No.
So sometimes I need you to get the car warm. Okay?
Well, let's
I
talk
need
about-
you to warm it up. I need you to let me know that it's time.
Let's talk about warming the car up, though. You know, it is. What is the Benz looking like today? Is it looking dusty and crusty?
Wait,
Doesn't matter.
It does matter. Like, I could drive a dusty and crusty Benz, but when that motherfucker is polished and clean,
Whatever.
woo-wee,
you know what?
I'm
To me-
pulling up.
So then the issue becomes, okay, with Candy being so busy, he essentially became the primary caretaker as far as we know, as far as we could tell, and as far as what was portrayed to us. He even had his daddy daycare where he was taking the children to school. But a lot of people say that he was, building his case because the prenup said if they got married got divorced before 10 years, he wouldn't get X, Y, and Z. But if they were married for more than 10 years, then he would stand to benefit a lot more than if they got divorced from before that time. But lo and behold, it seemed that magically he just made it to the 11th year. So he went an extra year to secure the bag, if you could say. So yeah, a lot of the discourse, especially him, he always tried to portray her as someone who was too busy to be physically involved with the children. But in the paperwork that she's filing in court is, her rebuttal is that is absolutely not true. I'm very active and present for my children and their physical care. I do have assistance, and when I'm not able to do things, the nanny does most of the work. But the fact of the matter is they're presenting it that he is actually physically in the same state and within the same household as the children. So here's where my bias comes in. I understand that if Todd was the woman, if the roles were reversed and Todd was the one making the money, traveling, he was the man. He was as the man, he was the one traveling, making the money, the breadwinner, and all of that. I would have said, it's obvious, she's the caretaker, and it just doesn't make sense. Again, as the man. So again, that's where my bias comes in. Are there men who are the primary custodian, caretaker for the children when they're not with the woman? Absolutely. But in this case, I think he's putting on a lot more than it is. He's been making his case for a long time, as other people have seen. Daddy daycare, I'm the one who's here, she's always traveling. But what do you expect? You expect to live this lavish lifestyle that is being upheld by the finance and the income that she brings in. However, you have a problem with her traveling to make that money. This is the way she make that money. Right? If you're not making as much money, and that's why we have an issue. If you're not making that much money in the first place, why should she stop traveling? And again, the problem I have with the whole rhetoric is that they're making it seem like she is an absentee mother. It's definitely shaming her as a working mother. She does not have a traditional job where she goes and come back and take care of the child or the children. However, it is still work, and it feels like there's a bit of shame being pushed onto her. We're telling women, you can make all this money, you can have your career, you can be successful, you can be an entrepreneur, you can have children, you can have this. But once it seems that it is taken away from the time being spent with the children, then it seems like, oh, you're neglectful, you're less feminine, you're not as soft, you're not a good mother. And there's a lot of shame that I don't necessarily like or agree with what's being brought onto her, because again, if she is the primary breadwinner and her job requires her to travel, a lot of people's jobs require them to travel. Maybe not to that extent that, an average job would require other people to travel, but her job requires her to travel, and that's how she makes the money. So I definitely don't like that they're making it seem like that. But like I said, if Todd was the breadwinner, I wouldn't see a problem giving the woman the physical primary custody, because it's just naturally women do what men, I'm not saying don't do, but from what she's saying is that even when he's there, it's the nannies that's doing the work. The issue is that he is there, so he can oversee what's being done. I'm sure he's involved, and taking them to school and stuff like that. We don't know if he takes them every time. And even though she's saying, I fly in to see my children, I have them flown to me, but he's trying to give me a hard time about that. My bias is that Candy physically carried one of the children. She could have died. I made a video, my last video talked about childbirth and carrying a child and the dangers of, physically carrying a child through pregnancy. You can refer to that video just to see my insight on that. I'm not going to give my full thoughts on that again. However, just the risk of pregnancy alone makes it dangerous for her to where physically she could have died. So I will always hold that bias in that if you carried a child to bring them here and you want to have them with you, if you are separating with the person you had it with, then naturally the mother should get the child, because women are just, again, naturally more nurturing. You take care of a woman. Shout out to Bonnie Scott. Is it Bonnie Scotch? I'm sorry if I'm messing up the name. You take care of a woman, you take care of everybody, right? So women naturally take care of everyone. So including especially their own children. However, it appears that when a woman is doing it all, the reality of a woman doing it all, once they start traveling, once they're entrepreneurs, once they're less physically available to take care of children, they start being shamed. And we quietly want them to want less. I've heard people say, Candy needs to just go back home and take care of those kids, blah, blah, blah. It seems like Candy is also chasing a goal. She's trying to win an EGOT, which is Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. I think she's won most of them except for one. So I think she's on Broadway. She's trying to get that last part of the EGOT. I'm not sure which ones that she has. However, it seems like people are telling her, you need to go home and take care of your children. But we tell women they can be ambitious and they can have children and still have their careers. So why should she be forced to go back home to have to take care of the children? And she says, the thing also about her, she has her entire family. She takes care of a lot of other people's children financially. And I'm sure her family is there to physically oversee the care of her child. I'm sure, of course, it's important for her to be there, and I'm sure she's there as much as she can be. I mean, it's not the most ideal situation, but let's say, God forbid, if Todd wasn't in the picture at all, would we then still require her to go back home and just give up her goals and dreams and career that we've told women that they can have? So it's okay to have those goals until, the child comes into the picture and you're unable to physically be there for the children. Again, I'm not saying that I agree with her way of handling her children. I've also seen people suggest that she move the children to New York with her, which would be more ideal. That way you get to see them on a daily basis. And I'm sure, she has enough money to just move for that period of time, even if you're just moving for a year with them so they can attend school. I don't know if they have they do homeschooling. I don't know if she can afford that, but since he's always taking them to school, I'm not sure how long, what kind of school they attend and stuff like that, right? But I'm sure they have good quality schools in New York that they could attend, and she could still have her nanny. I'm sure she could fly some of her people to be part of her support system and continue taking care of the children that way. We also know her to be very frugal, so I'm sure, I don't know if it's that she doesn't want to spend the money. I'm just speculating here, but the main thing I want to focus on is that telling women that, hey, you can have this career, you can have everything you want until the reality presents itself and it's not so comfortable for people and it's not so cute. It's not, the picture perfect life that people think you're supposed to have once you have children. And again, I'm always going to be biased because of the fact that when the second child, yes, was had through surrogacy, but the first one, I remember Candy really struggled through that pregnancy. She had a lot of complications. I think she had fibroids. I don't remember. So the physical cost was absorbed by her. And the other issue, again, I've had with this is let me say this. I have never found being a workaholic cute or anything cute about it. I'm not a fan of people who don't ever have time for their families, who are always absent, you know, always, I got to take care of this last thing and then I'll be home and they're never home. I don't like that. It's never been something that I'm fond of. However, I can understand. However, I don't think if she was the man, okay, what I'm trying to say is that men are allowed to get away with that behavior a lot more. So if a man is busy, he's not necessarily neglectful. He's taking care of the family. He's being the leader. But in this case, the roles are just reversed. And I'm sure Todd knew what he was getting into. But again, maybe he was playing the game. It was a scheme that he set up, okay? The scheme was set and he had to set it through. Maybe that's the case. Another reason why I will never agree with marrying down or marrying someone who has such a wide gap financially, especially when the woman is the one with the money, is because we live in a patriarchal society where it is designed for men to succeed. So if I as a woman can do it, you better be doing it. So I wanted to come on here and ask, is it possible for us to have it all as women, right? If a woman is a breadwinner, does the man eventually come to resent her? Because we've seen videos of Todd giving, these little example, not so subtle situations that he talks about when Candy's getting her makeup done. I don't know what that was, if that was a podcast they had. I don't know what that was. But yeah, is it possible for a woman to be the breadwinner and the man not resent her in the long run as he become Mr. Mom? Even the term Mr. Mom is just misogynistic, because why does he have to? He's Mr. Dad, right? So my other question is, why are working women judged so harshly? And then to take it another step further, there are women who know the responsibilities that come, maybe even if they haven't experienced it firsthand, but you don't always have to experience something to learn from it. You can, learn through watching other people. There are women who choose to have careers and not have children, yet they're judged so harshly for it, right? And then we'll tell them, you can manage both. But the reality is, sacrifice is going to have to be made somewhere. So there are some women who say, you know what, I don't think I can fully dedicate myself to having my career, the career that I want and how far I want to get, and have children. Or maybe I just don't want that responsibility. I've talked about that again in my last video. So why are women still judged so harshly in what is supposed to be this modern, understanding society? And once women have children, does that become their identity? Do they have to shrink themselves after they have children? Do they have to give up their careers and ambitions? And I just thought it was very interesting. And I really don't like the whole rhetoric again about her being a working mom. And it seems like she's being shamed for providing. But if she was a man, this would just be the norm. And the issue really could be that maybe Candy had children with someone who was never aligned with her in the first place. And again, he's talked about he never got to play around. He never got to XYZ, but maybe her income, her lifestyle was too enticing, the way she was chasing him, putting him on private jets and stuff like that. So where, she was like, okay, well, if you don't commit to me, you're going to lose access to that. And he didn't want to lose access to the money. So then he committed to her. So I will leave those questions with you. Let me know your thoughts. What are your opinions? What do you think? Are you following what's going on? Are you familiar with the people I'm talking about? And what's your overall thoughts on this conversation of womanhood, having children, and career? So traveling, you know what I'm saying? Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.